So, in this explainer, we're going to dive into something that's really personal, the state of our hearts. We're going to look at how sacred texts, like the Quran, are meant to be so much more than just words we hear. They're supposed to be an experience that genuinely changes us, from the inside out. And this idea right here, this is what sets the stage for everything. It's a total shift in perspective. So often we get caught up in measuring our spiritual life by quantity. How many chapters did I read? How many lectures did I listen to? But the real test, the true impact, is all about the quality of our reception.
And that idea of reception, well, that brings us to a really fascinating point. The source material points out that the exact same verse can hit two different people and have completely opposite effects. For one person, it's this life-changing moment of revival. And for another person, well, it's just words. Nothing lands.
So that leads us to the big question, right? Why? How can the same set of words literally change one person's entire life, but for someone else, it just goes in one ear and out the other? The answer, it turns out, isn't in the words themselves, but in the heart that's listening.
To really get this, we have to look at a fundamental distinction the Quran makes between two kinds of hearts. And this is the key to the whole thing. The difference between an opened heart and a hardened heart. So, the opened heart, it's described as being on a path of light. It's receptive, it's open to guidance, and it actually softens when it remembers God. But the hardened heart, it's a totally different story. It's unresponsive, it's lost in misguidance, and, this is the scary part, it actually grows even harder over time. They're on two completely different tracks. And here's a verse from the Quran that paints a picture of that opened heart. The imagery is so powerful, isn't it? An expanded chest, open and ready to take in light. It's not about feeling constricted or tight. It's about spiritual space and clarity. So, what does this actually look like in real life? Well, the signs are pretty clear. An opened heart gets humble when it hears divine words. It doesn't try to argue, it just listens. When it's reminded of its purpose, it snaps back into focus. And this is so important. When it messes up, it comes back. It seeks forgiveness and gets back on track. Now, on the flip side, the Quran gives this incredibly stark and sobering warning. That word woe is so strong. It's not just a casual description. It's a severe, serious caution against ever reaching this spiritual state. And the signs of this hardened heart, honestly, they're kind of chilling. This is a heart that hears verses but thinks, oh, that's for someone else, not me. It can sit through a powerful sermon and be completely asleep, spiritually speaking. Even direct warnings about hellfire don't really scare it. It's like a deep spiritual numbness has set in.
Okay, so you might be thinking this is all just some abstract, ancient wisdom. But it's not. The source material is really clear that this is a direct reflection of our world today. So let's connect the dots to our own lives.
And when we look around, the symptoms are kind of everywhere, aren't they? The Quran is playing in our homes and our cars, but often our behavior doesn't really change. We listen to tons of sermons and lectures online, but they don't always spark that real, sincere repentance. We know what's right and wrong, but sins are sometimes just committed casually, without a second thought.
And this is the crucial takeaway right here. The problem is not a lack of information. We have more access to knowledge than any generation in history. The real issue, as the source points out, is internal. It's the hardness of the heart that comes from spiritual neglect.
So what's causing this hardness in our modern world? The source names a few key culprits. You've got the constant distractions from our phones and social media, this obsession with long-term worldly goals, planning out the next 20 years without thinking about our spiritual destination, a deep attachment to material things, and, maybe the most sneaky one, underestimating how all those small sins add up over time.
So what is this hardened state, really? It's a condition where the heart hears the truth, but doesn't feel it. It knows the information, but it doesn't act on it. It's this huge, dangerous gap between knowing and doing. And this is not a new worry. For the early, righteous generations, their greatest fear wasn't being ignorant. It was this exact state. They were terrified of having a heart that knew the truth, could even argue for it, but didn't actually submit to it. They knew that was the biggest spiritual tragedy of all. But, and this is where the message pivots in a really important way, this is all a warning, not a final verdict. The source is so clear that the door for revival is still wide open. This isn't about judging ourselves into a corner, it's about diagnosis so we can find the cure.
So this all brings us face to face with the core question from the source material, a question that each one of us really has to ask ourselves. Does the Quran change you, or has it just become a habit, a routine that doesn't really have an effect on your soul?
Now, if that question makes you feel a little uncomfortable, that's okay. The key is what you do with that feeling. The Source tells us to see it not as a final judgment, not as proof that we failed, but as a merciful warning sign. It's a wake-up call, an invitation to come back.
Okay, so what's the game plan? What's the path forward? The Source lays out this beautiful, simple, 3-step plan to heal the heart. Step 1, increase the remembrance of God in your day-to-day life. Step 2, make a sincere return, a real repentance. And step 3, and this one is huge, engage with the Quran by really thinking about it, by contemplating it, not just reading it out of habit.
And that last point, that's everything. The journey back really begins when we completely transform how we interact with the Quran. It has to go from being just another item on our to-do list to being a real, living relationship, a conversation where we listen, we reflect, and we let those words actually shape who we are.
We'll end with the beautiful prayer mentioned in the source material, because it's the perfect summary of this whole journey. O Allah, open our hearts to faith, and make the Quran the spring of our hearts and the light of our chests. It's a plea for that openness, for our hearts to be like fertile ground in the springtime, just waiting for the words of God to bring them back to life. A really powerful thought to